Let's go to super friend of the show, Mary Kay Cabot. She is on the fan hotline, so that's what I wanted to say. I got all fluttered there for a second because I'm so excited to talk to Mary Kay. Hi, Mary Kay. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good. I'm checking quarterbacks. I mean, I'm counting. I'm not very good at math, but I only see 3 left, Mary Kay. What made them make the trade?
You know, I was actually surprised. They were planning to keep 4, but when someone offered them this 5th-round pick, they felt that was good value, and it gives them back the pick that they had originally given up. So yeah, they just felt it was good value, and basically gives them a chance to turn to the rookies when the time comes. If it gets to that point, then they can just go ahead and they're going to continue to develop those guys, and they'll take a look at them when it makes sense.
Mary Kay, the way you worded that, they thought it was good value. Do you think it's good value? I don't, to be perfectly honest. I would have rather seen what Pickett could do in a Browns uniform than get a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it either. They've used 9 starting quarterbacks over the last 2 years, 5 in 2023, 4 last year. And I just think that if for some reason Joe doesn't work out, or if Joe gets hurt, then you do have another veteran. I don't know if a 5th-round pick at this point would have been worth that to me if I were running the show, but they felt that it was good value.
Yep, I agree with you completely, Mary Kay. We're on the same page.
Is there any... go ahead, sorry.
No, I just, I do understand that Dillon showed them some things, especially in that last game.
Sure.
But I also believe that it just can't hurt to have 2 veterans on the roster.
Is that veteran already on the roster and could come back from injury in Deshaun Watson?
Well, not anytime soon. I mean, he still has a ways to go here. He's not ready to come back. But he will be back. I mean, I don't know if he will actually end up being activated, but I think he will be ready to start practicing sometime in late October or November. So they do have that sort of in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Deontay Johnson reports that he's not going to make the team. I didn't see anything in games, Mary Kay. They must not have seen anything in practice either. Opportunity lost. Is wide receiver okay without him, or just with what they're going to bring back?
Yeah, I think they're okay. I think Isaiah Bond made him expendable. I was kind of pulling for him a little bit. I was hoping that Deontay could get it together and keep his head on straight here and maybe make a go of this, because he's a great route runner, and I think he can add value to a team. But it just didn't work out. And I think one of the places where he went wrong was when he just didn't show up for organized team activities. I just don't think that was a wise choice by him, because I think it set him back in the installation of learning the new offense and all of that. And I don't think it was a good look. I think he needed to be here and show that he was 100% committed to this opportunity.
Mary Kay, how do they look then at wide receiver, and how many are they keeping, and who's staying, who's going? Because you're hearing, I don't know, we hear little reports here and there. We're trying to figure this thing out. Tell me what that wide receiver room looks like.
Well, it will be Jerry Jeudy, Ced Tillman, Jamari Thrash, Isaiah Bond, DeAndre Carter, and Gage Larvading is what it will be. Caden Davis has been released, and he will end up back on the practice squad as long as he clears waivers, and I think he should. But you never know. I mean, he's good enough that some team might view him as someone they could put on their roster. But if he clears, he'll be back on the practice squad. So that's basically it for now. And I think, again, that Isaiah Bond sort of made Deontay Johnson expendable.
Larvading, I mean, he must have turned a million heads even when we weren't seeing him outside of the games and the practices that fans were. That's pretty special for him to be able to make this team, don't you think?
Yes, it's amazing, especially because he's only 5'8". I mean, you're around him and you're like, yeah. Whoa! You realize how sort of tiny he is. But he played big. He made every single catch. He made big plays in the games. He was excellent throughout all of training camp. And he's got a great attitude, a great work ethic, and I think fans are really going to fall in love with this young man once they get to know him.
They have the second spot when it comes to waivers, Mary Kay, and they'll have that into the regular season. How active do you think the Browns are going to be once they make their cuts, once they have 16 guys that they would assume put on their practice squad? How active are they going to be in just tweaking things?
Oh, I think they'll be pretty active. Once you have that number 2 spot, you're going to have a really nice selection of players over the next couple of days. So I do think that they will be active, and this is going to be very fluid, the back end of the roster. So I would watch for maybe some defensive backs. I mean, they could probably use a cornerback or two. There are some positions that they will definitely add to.
Did Luke Floria do enough to get on the practice squad?
Yeah, I think he probably will be a candidate for the practice squad. He was really good. He did a nice job, and so yeah, I think you can put him down as a candidate for that.
Does this it screams to me that they're looking quarterback next year, and they'll just find their franchise quarterback next year, Mary Kay. Does that, do you have any confidence that guy might be on this team? I mean, could Dillon really step up and be that guy? Could Shedeur step up and be that guy?
Well, you never know. I mean, you just never know. I think they want to see what they have in those guys, and I think they're very intrigued, especially right now by Dillon with what we saw in him in the Rams game. He really showed some things there. So I do think they want to see exactly what they do have in these guys so that it can help inform what they do in 2026. But I don't think either of these guys are going to have really enough time to prevent them or preclude them from drafting a quarterback next year. Agreed. I think they're going to have to do something with those 2 first-round picks in terms of a quarterback.
I agree completely.
Okay, so wait, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Map out what you think, then, is the quarterback route for this team.
Well, I think that this year Joe will play for as long as it makes sense, and then they'll throw Dillon in there next and see what he does. And then at some point, I think they'd like to try to see what Shedeur can do as well. And then depending on how that goes, then they will they'll draft a quarterback next year. I think that I just don't think there's any reason why they wouldn't draft a quarterback next year. Even if Dillon has a really good half a season or whatever, I kind of think you still need to spend those quality choice first-round picks on a quarterback in a very rich class. So if you end up with a surplus of good quarterbacks, then you have a good problem on your hands, and you can develop them and have a good starter and a backup or trade one or whatever the case may be.
We all know that the running game is something Kevin Stefanski likes. He's used it effectively. Does he have the talent here to do that now, Mary Kay, with the offensive line? I love those guys, but they're all up there a little bit when it comes to experience. Quinshon Judkins isn't here now. Who knows when he'll be here? Does he have the talent on this team to pull off what he wants, or do you think they'll be looking for a running back here as things get cut down?
I really don't. I mean, I guess they could add a running back. I know they weren't planning to trade for one, but they could maybe add one depending on how long they think it will take for Quinshon to actually be on the roster and available to play. So still awaiting that decision. It's been a little bit of a mystery, but he probably will get signed fairly soon. And then if he goes on the commissioner's exempt list, if the league is still reviewing his case, which as of yesterday it was, and if he goes on that list, then then they will have that roster exemption for him while this whole thing gets sorted out. But in terms of adding another running back, I think they feel like right now they have what they need to get the job done with Jerome and Dillon, and then Amani Marshall will be on the practice squad, and so will Travion Williams. So, yeah, I think they're probably okay, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they add one.
Defensive moves they might need to make or do or try to go out and get somebody. There's some secondary help they could probably use. I'm just your thoughts on the defense and what they might be able to do or find here before 4 o'clock or right after.
Yeah, I would think defensive backs are always in play when it comes time to look at that waiver wire. So that's one thing I think they'll be looking at. And who knows, maybe they'll even be looking at a kicker. I don't really know about that, but I suppose there is a chance. So that's maybe something to keep an eye on. And then there are a few other positions, defensive line and some things where you can never have too many of those guys, edge rushers and whatnot. So they will have their eyes peeled, and they will, I would say, add 3 or 4 more players.
So I thought Jeff made a good point about the game the other day, because there were a lot of people upset about Shedeur Sanders not playing the last 2 minutes to try to drive the team down the field to get that game-winning field goal when you ended up, having Huntley do it. So my question then is, why do you think they did that? Jeff's point was, hey, maybe they wanted to drive the field and see what was going to happen at the kicker position, with Schmidt being able to have the opportunity to win it.
You know what? I think that Shedeur at that point had kind of lost his composure. He wasn't playing within himself. He was pressing, and he was, in some respects, in harm's way. He was holding the ball too long, and the last thing the Browns needed was for their developmental quarterback to get hurt in that game. And he wasn't really protecting himself at that time, is the way that I look at it.
That's true.
When you're sacked 5 times and you're not even having that many snaps and you can't get a first down, it's kind of dangerous for you to be back there. And plus, you're being protected by guys who are going to be gone the next day. I just don't think that's a good investment in your rookie quarterback. So I think it was the right decision.
It's an interesting thought, and I was just surprised the way that whole thing went down. But I think your thought on that is really interesting. Defensively, is there anything? And I know you guys discussed DBs. Is there anything that screams out to you that this is going to be a problem? Are they light at linebacker? Are they heavy on the D line? I love the D line, Mary Kay. I think they've got some real talent there.
Yeah, the D line is going to be really good, so that's not a problem. And then in the linebacker room, I suppose that's an area that they can look at. They've taken a lot of hits in that linebacker room, and and they probably could use another body there per se. But they love what they see from Carson Schlesinger. He's had such a nice camp. You may have heard Andrew say the other day, it's like having a 5-year pro back there with what he can do just in terms of making the calls and being the green dot guy. So he's been a really, really pleasant, not surprise, but a pleasant pick for them. And that's worked out really, really well. So unfortunately, they lost Nathaniel Watson for the season. But they've got a couple other decent guys in there. I think they'll keep looking.
Ethan Posek, maybe just, I don't know, what was the latest on him after his injury from Saturday? And do you feel like week 1 will be Jones, Batodio, Posek, Teller, Conklin?
Well, Kevin said the other day when we asked him that he thought that Posek potentially could be out there for the opener. So he still has 2 weeks. That's a long time for him to heal. That's a lot of treatment that he can get. And so I do think that there is a world in which Ethan can be back in there, and that would be very helpful. He's very, very good. He's got the timing down with Joe right now, and so hopefully for them that'll work out like that.
Good luck the rest of the day. You'll be busy.
Yep. Today, tomorrow, the next few days. Yep.
The next few months.
Have fun.
Exactly.
At least there's always going to be quarterback talk, right? You always have that going for you. So
come on.
Yep.
It is Brownstone. So.
Thanks,
Mary Kay. Thank you. We always appreciate you.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Mary Kay Cabot, PlainDealerCleveland.com. Make sure you read her every day.